I'll start off this one then. We're going to do a test podcast, which that's what they're called, where basically it's a talkie. And
yeah,
we're going to pick on a subject and just waffle for a bit. Firstly, just for those who don't know, my name's Kevin Brown, and I'm with...
well, I'm Rick Clark.
And I'm Sian.
And the puffy panting noise you can hear isn't either of us engaged in any kind of sex games, it's actually my dog Billy. So he's puffing and panting every now and then, so that's what the panting noises are, if you happen to hear panting noises. So what we're going to talk about first then? We're talking about ghosts. Do you believe in ghosts, Sian?
In a way, yes. I don't really believe they're the spirits of dead people. I believe they're more recordings of what happened in the past.
So you don't believe it's like the spirit of a person that haunts an area? You believe it's some kind of echo or something?
I believe it's an imprint of emotions, or somebody who was, like they say, battlefields are haunted, and you imagine the kind of emotions that are generated on a battlefield with pain, fear, death, rage. And I think those sort of emotions, if you walk into a house where people have been arguing, and even though they're not arguing, you can feel it in the atmosphere.
Yeah.
I think it's something like that, but much stronger.
That's quite an interesting theory. I know, like, living in England, we've got a lot of old stone buildings and things, and there is a theory about almost like the videotape type scenario.
Stone tape theory.
Yeah.
So what exactly is the stone tape theory? How does that work then?
Well, they believe that some, especially quartz, absorbs certain energies and sort of pulses them out, broadcasts them. So it's almost like if you see a ghost of a grey lady, say, who's supposed to haunt like Avebury Manor, right, and they walk around probably the same places as they did when they lived, and it's the same in the Tower of London, places like that. So it's almost like the amount of time a person's been there and the kind of emotions that they feel.
The thing is, people like to live in an area for their whole lifetime, so they're going to go for a variety of emotions.
Yeah.
So what would be an imprint in emotion?
I wonder if atmospheric conditions and things like that have a real physical influence on...
That's interesting, because a guy called Tom Lethbridge, who studied ley lines, was talking about conditions, damp and humid and cloudy conditions seem to be a time when a lot of visions and ghosts were seen. So he thought...
That's interesting, yeah.
I've got that in a book.
It's almost like the same sort of principle as a videotape, It's almost like this recording happens under this condition, and then it's sort of played back under maybe a similar or a different condition.
Maybe that explains why some people, when they see a ghost, they're hovering above the floor a certain way, or they're walking through walls.
Yeah, because
and they
those walls were
doorways in the old time, if you took out old floor plans and things.
Yeah.
Like that famous Roman... The famous sighting of the man who was a plumber down in the Treasurer's house in York and saw a company of Romans walking through, but they were sort of down, I could see them from the knees up, but the road then would have been lower than it was.
Yeah. Dog days, puffing and panting away. You probably heard nice and loud, nice and clear.
The
sort of vision that I've got, we're all sort of sat around in a circle, well, sort of triangle, really. These two are sat, Rick and Sian are sat on a sofa. Billy is sort of lounged out between them, literally flopped out with his head over Rick's lap, and I'm sat on a chair opposite them.
We've got a very powerful microphone, so it's picking up everything.
Exactly. So we've got, Halloween coming up, haven't we? Which is a really big thing, especially
Halloween.
in America.
The thing about Halloween, it's not really a British type thing. Although saying
it's generated in Ireland, actually. It's no. Samhain, which is the name of the festival, the Celtic festival, originated apparently in Ireland. Right. But we just took it, and especially in America, it's become a very...
See, America, it's all very commercial America, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's become a little bit more here, but not quite so much, But,
so one of the problems that we get here, well, it's a problem not just here, it's everywhere across the world, isn't it? Is the people the concerns about letting kids out on their own on the streets.
Well, I mean,
I think 10 years ago it used to happen a lot more. This day, you don't see it at all.
There's so much paranoia about that, though, isn't there? I mean, I was looking.
Media Friends is brought up, though. Isn't
I was actually, this came up the other day. I was watching a television program the other day. I think it was a news program. No, it was an animal welfare, one of those fly on the wall documentary things. And there was this the camera crew, and they were interviewing this guy, and there was a couple of kids playing in the street in the background. And they're all pixelated out, just the kids' faces were pixelated out, and I'm thinking, at what point did we become that paranoid?
Exactly. Well, that's a whole new subject going on to political correctness and that in this country is
but
terrible,
it is
isn't
fear. It's because of Sarah Payne and you know, things like those children that do go missing.
The thing is, I mean, all right, Sarah Payne, tragic though it was one incident in how many years? Statistically, it's like 0.0000 whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, back in the olden days, before the media was sort of instantaneous, things like that probably would have happened a lot more. But the level of paranoia that generates, and the media makes this frenzy about it.
It's like the thing did you read about a lot of the schools now will not allow kids to play conkers.
Oh yeah,
because of the simple fact,
safety goggles and
everything. They're saying that, I think obviously some kid did it and hit someone hard and knocked him out, or done something like that in the past in a school.
Actually, I bet that probably didn't even happen. It's just the health and safety.
It might happen.
Right. Somebody in America was talking to me, somebody who writes, and they're not allowed to take in these little toys that squirty dinosaurs, which squirt because it's a weapon, apparently.
No.
Yeah, no, honestly. So these little, like that purple dinosaur.
I suppose it's not a weapon, but if you spray water at someone, that is assault, really.
That's right, apparently. Yeah.
Well, I suppose it's sort of the situation and the circumstances in which it's done. I suppose it can be quite nasty in the wrong context.
Yeah. Exactly. I suppose if you're just playing with your friends or out and then suddenly you turn around and your best mate squirts you in the face, it'd be quite funny. But if you walked up to some person in the street and squished them in the face, that's slightly different.
I suppose that is.
But with apparently the knife crime that's becoming more and more common, and apparently, teenagers are taking knives into their colleges, and how do you stop that without going through every single student's bag?
What happens is
they generate on a lot of American schools, aren't they?
They're generating fear amongst themselves, and the logic behind a lot of these kids that go out with knives or guns and that now is that they are literally taking them out for their own self-protection.
No, it's a fashion accessory as well.
That's true.
Cool to have a knife.
It's a respect thing, isn't it?
But they started doing this thing, but they're now taking kids or people that have been involved in that sort of crime and taking them to centres where people have been injured or shown them photographs, basically just trying to shock tactics and say to them, guys, this is the result. This is what happens to you when you go out and you stab somebody. It's not all glory. It's not like in the movies you just it's a bit of blood. This is what happens, and they're showing photographs or taking people in hospital with their guts ripped out.
Because the problem with that is most of those kids play on their Xboxes and that. They see that all the time.
Yeah.
It's not getting used to it.
But certain of those games I was playing, I'm not going to mention any names now because of copyright issues. But if there's certain games that I'm playing now, if you're playing like a shooting game, you shoot someone, they play parts of them fly off. It does. It's so photorealistic.
There's this whole desensitisation process.
That's a whole new topic, and we'll have to talk about that another time.
Yeah, we're running out of time, so.
But it's just a test run to see what we've done, and we've covered a mixture of things. We sort of branched off quite funnily. We started off talking about ghosts, and it ended up talking about knife crime.
But it's nice to get these things off our chest.
Exactly. So we're going to whack this up on the good old YouTube, I think.
Well, give it a go on YouTube. Maybe have a look at some podcast websites, maybe, and go from there.
We'll see what happens. See how we develop this. But we're looking at developing a podcast.
But if you're still listening, thanks for listening.
Thank you.
And if you did listen, on the comments box, put a little thing. Say,
do let us know where we're going wrong.
What can we say? What can we say for the set at the end of the comments box? Put a little. Put 2 stars, saying this is a great clip or this is a bit 2 stars. Then we know you've watched it. Then all the things we're watching, read these clips, all say, yeah, great, well done. But none of them watched it. Just watched the first 2 seconds. So if someone's got to the end, they put 2 stars at the end. We know, they really watched it.
Fair play.
Anyway, we'll see you again. Like I say, this was Kev Brown talking with
Sian
and Rick.
And we'll speak to you again soon.
Tally ho.
Why are you waving at a radio?
I don't know, because bonkers. That's a good point, actually.